I'm Mike Rigatti. I went through the UO MIIP program last year, so 2019, and that I was the last part of the last class to, be in person before everything happened with COVID. And I went to undergraduate in Wisconsin and heard about this program through my advisor there, and came out here, and I've been living in Oregon ever since. I just finished up my internship and was converted full time to my position at HP. So really thankful for the program and everything it's done for me. I was really surprised when I got to HP and started my internship. The all the stuff that we learned in the program over those past 6 months it was immediately useful. I mean, everything from the professional development side, being organized and responding to emails appropriately, over to the technical side and being able to dive deep into the topics and really understand what's going on a technical level. That paid off immediately. And I was really happy to see that this program brands itself as being focused on teaching you what you need to know so that you're ready to go work right away. And I felt that I didn't have a typical learning curve that you would at an internship. I feel like I skipped a lot of the stuff that if you come from other programs, you might have to figure that out kind of as you go, because there's less guidance in that direction. And when I got to HP, I was able to immediately make my impact and be productive right away because of everything that I learned here.
Hello, my name is Dr. Stacy Wagner, and I oversee the Bioinformatics and Genomics track within the Knight Campus Graduate Internship Program. My official title is Director of Life Science Tracks. What that means is I oversee programming in both for the Bioinformatics and Genomics program or track, but also for development of data science tracks, which we are looking at hopefully launching one in the next year or so.
I'm Mary Wood. I joined the UO Bioinformatics and Genomics Master's Program in 2016. And as part of that, I did an internship at Oregon Health and Science University. And so now I am a research associate both with OHSU and the Portland VA Research Foundation.
Hi, I'm Dr. Stacy York. I am the director of the Material Science tracks within the Knight Campus Graduate Internship Program. And so I ensure material science track success for the internship program, as well as develop our corporate relationships and oversee some of the professional training components as well.
We've trained almost 900 students now since the beginning of the program, which was over 20 years ago. And we train students to have an impact in both government labs, in research labs, and primarily actually in industry. We have let's see, I want to just name some metrics too. So we have a greater than 98% placement rate in internships for the required 9-month internship. And we have over 90% success rate with students getting jobs about 3 months or within 3 months of graduating from the program. So I would like to I'll start with talking about the way we develop the curriculum. It's really based on externally needed skills. So what does industry need? What are the skills that employers are looking for? And we use that information that we actively seek and through conversation with them, and we use that to develop our curriculum so that it really addresses the needs and talent gaps of today's workforce.
Yeah, I'll add on to or expand on to what Dr. Wagner mentioned in terms of getting partner feedback, whether that's a corporate partner, a national lab partner, or a research institute partner. In addition to ensuring the students get the right technical training, we ensure they have the right professional training too. So as scientists, it's really important that our students and alumni have strong communication skills so that if they're a chemist working with a physicist or a chemist working with a data scientist, they can communicate the unique research challenges and opportunities they have and really pool their knowledge together to drive innovation, shorten that impact cycle so that the students and alumni are really making progress and impacts in their companies much quicker than a typical intern would. So I think it's the potent combination of technical training with professional training that allows them to really, add impact. And I think that drives some of our metrics, like 90% having employment within 3 months of graduating. That's why we have a 98% graduation rate. And even through the pandemic, our students maintained great employment, and we saw so few impacted.
So the internship actually led to my position that I have now. I was able to really kind of grow with a new professor, Dr. Reed Thompson at OHSU, as he built his lab up. I was his first kind of, I guess, intern, but employee, grad student. And so it was really kind of a team effort to kind of build his research program and kind of help him interview with like grad students and everything, and really build a research program. So I was really kind of actually involved in like shaping a lot of the direction of the team, and just really translated easily into then becoming a full-time employee, and kind of learning new skills with him, learning from each other, and kind of shaping the direction of the research. Becoming an employee was really kind of an extension of the internship. I was working on a lot of the same projects and was able to kind of have a firm grasp of the types of tools that we were using and the goals that we wanted to achieve. So then moving forward, I was able to really kind of be where I needed to be, know who else in the department I could turn to if I needed help on anything, needed someone else's expertise, and be able to kind of welcome people into the lab as like more grad students are being taken on, kind of orient them and get everyone on the same page. We went through interviews with multiple different companies and research institutions, and was able to talk with multiple people, multiple researchers, and kind of pick the program that sounded the best for me. There were a couple other opportunities that I could have taken, but I really liked the idea of being at OHSU and being focused on cancer research. The impact of that meant a lot to me. So I did kind of choose to go that direction, but there's lots of different opportunities available to the students, and the power is not just in the hands of the internship companies. Students really have a lot of opportunity to find the right fit for them as well.
Well, you have about 2 days where you are interviewing with a bunch of different companies, so it's a long 2 days. But the great thing about this program is that these companies know that they've had, especially the ones that have had interns from this program before, they know that whoever they get is going to be really prepared and ready to go right when they get there. And so that's like how Mary said, the power is not just in the companies trying to hire you for an internship. You really get a lot of choice because it's competitive that way too, that the interviewers really have to sell you on wanting to go do your internship there, and to make it sound worthwhile and interesting. And so everyone I interviewed with, they had a lot of great things to say about their company, and any question I asked them, they were really, they would really give a detailed answer about what it's like to work for that company and day-to-day life for them, and what I could be expected to be doing day-to-day as an intern as well. So I felt that the companies were really, they weren't just kind of lackadaisical about it. They were really trying to get everyone that they interviewed to want to go to their company.
Could I add something on that goes into a previous question you asked, how is our internship program different than others? I think the fact that when a partner engages with our program, they're not required to take an intern, but they inevitably do because we have such a high quality talent pool. And as Mike and Mary both said, it's really about finding a good match for both the student and the company. So not only do we have this depth of talent, but we have a lot of it. And so they can find the right technical fit for the specific role they have. It's one reason why we, have partners come year after year. It's why students are often staying on at their employer after their internship, because through that interview process, they've been able to identify what is the company where I'm really going to get to use the skill set I'm most interested in, that I'm going to really flourish in. And for students who end up leaving their host company after their internship, we have this large professional network that they're able to leverage to find their next role.
I think that what York was just saying really kind of dovetails into that question. So she was talking about, what Mary was talking about with the, when she first started out in the lab, she was working with, a big group and like helping it get started. And during that time, she was making all these networks and contacts, and those people then can become external stakeholders of ours over time, because we're really working with these really great students, and it's actually pretty easy to help find these awesome students positions, because they have grit and determination, they're working on these professional skills, and they're team players. And so we have these great students to place, and it's just the really just finding those opportunities for them. And that part takes a lot of work, and but also just leveraging that network that the students help pave the way for us. So since we've been around for over 20 years, our networks have really, really been built up. And we're seeing cross-pollination as well. So York's, some of her partners will then start looking at bioinformatics students as they want to, diversify and get into the area of bioinformatics and genomics. And so I just think there's a lot of opportunities just through the network.
And we work with companies all over the country. For the last 3 years, we've had a company based in North Carolina recruit students at Cree. So they're expanding, they're in the semiconductor space. So it's pretty cool to see a North Carolina company pretty close to the Research Triangle, participating in engaging with our students from Oregon, because they know the top quality. We also have a company similarly based in Austin, right next to UT Austin, who 10% of their workforce are our alumni. It's a smaller company, about 50 people, but they are, when we have our in-person networking event, they come up from Austin to recruit our students. They participated virtually this year. We work with the national labs, Los Alamos National Lab, Pacific Northwest National Lab, Lawrence Livermore. We've worked with defense organizations like Lockheed Martin. We've worked with consumer goods, Johnson & Johnson, Nike, and we've worked with publicly traded and privately owned companies as well, ranging from a 3-person startup to companies well over 50,000 globally, like Thermo Fisher Scientific.
One of our pillars of excellence is really focusing on inclusion and relationship-focused, relationship-driven results. And so the moment we start talking to a recruit, it's really all about building that relationship and really figuring out if this is the career that's right for them. So we're really invested in these students, and we continue to be invested in them throughout the life cycle. So recruitment through the time they're with us in the program, helping them leverage opportunities and get internships and transition those into full careers, and of course engaging with our alumni. Yes, so everything Dr. Wagner said, and really I think one thing that distinguishes our program from other graduate programs is a real care and concern for the success of our students and alum. We don't, when we admit students into the program, we know that this is going to be a long-term relationship, a long-term investment. So really making sure it's a good fit for all parties involved. Spending time to get to know our applicants. Lindy Rizzo, who recruits for the material science tracks, will do an hour conversation with every applicant just to get to know them. It's pretty informal, trying to understand. Mike, I don't, you may have actually talked with Betsy, but very similar, and helping students out when they're in a challenging situation. I mean, Mike and I had a fairly time-sensitive situation happen when he was in the program, and I talked with him while I was on vacation at Disney World, and there were
stormtroopers walking by and in the background. And, I can remember talking with Mike, through that kind of chaos. So I don't know how many other programs would really take that kind of time investment for their students, but it's something I certainly pride ourselves in.
It was pretty clear to me early on, like Stacy said, that we have these hour-long informal interviews kind of to get to know the applicant, get to know the program for the applicant. And coming from the school I went to, which was a really small liberal arts college that really focused on small class sizes and communication with professors and students, my biggest worry when I went to graduate school and went to a school as big as UO was that I would lose that kind of sense of personal touch. But when I got here, every class that we did and every activity that we did either as, together as a cohort and really focused on, getting to know each other and getting along with each other. And also was the faculty was just as approachable at my previous school that had, like 8 or 10 people per class. So for them to be able to do that at a school as large as UO really impressed me. And talking to the alumni as well while I was there on campus in the program, when alumni would come visit, they're still just as connected as they were when they were going through the program. So, that large alumni network that Dr. York mentioned is also, they're not just forgot about when they leave. They're always being checked up on, and they're always communicating back and forth as well.
The support during the program, I guess, first of all, was great. I remember, I don't know if you remember this, Stacy, but before the Genomics in Action meeting, where you have the opportunity to meet the potential internship partners for the program, I spent many hours in Stacy's office working on getting my poster pulled together, getting feedback frequently from her to make sure everything was in really good shape. And like having that kind of really personal support to get through like stressful periods of time like that was great. And since then, the alumni network has been really fantastic too. I actually just accepted a new position that I'll be starting next month, and Stacy helped me get my CV in really good shape to present. The position was actually something that one of the former TAs from the program kind of presented to alumni as an opportunity because she worked at this company. So the network has been really helpful, and it's just great to know that you kind of have those connections that you can rely on both for opportunities like new jobs or also just for support and help. Like if you are like, oh, I've never done this analysis before, maybe I can reach out and talk to someone in this wide network and get help. It's really great.
If I could add on to what I said earlier and what Dr. York mentioned about that time-sensitive issue that we had to resolve, I was, really, even though at that point I was really had been there for a few months and was accustomed to the personalization of this program, I was still shocked to see, this involved doing some work over the holidays, right as the semester was ending, and there was no gap or lapse in support over that time, even when we weren't even on campus anymore and it was Christmas Day. I was still getting help to make sure that it was resolved in time, and I'm really appreciative of that.
I think a lot about that concept of you spend a lot of time building a strong foundation, building a strong root system, and then when the conditions are right, the growth is exponential. And I think we've been in this somewhat of a 20-year small growth and incubation phase. We've always had a great product. We've always delivered excellence, but now the Night Campus is really going to let us go places that would have taken a lot longer because we didn't have the infrastructure, not because we didn't have the technical ability, we just lacked that infrastructure. And, in the course of 20 years, we went, from very small cohorts, in the 10s to 20s to about doubling in size after Lindy Rizzo joined as recruiter from about 30 to closer to 60 students. And then bioinformatics came along, and they've added a substantial size to the overall internship program size, and we're now the largest physics master's program in the country. Have been the last 3 years. We're very large chemistry-wise, and very large biology. And you know, our peak enrollment this past year was 167 students, as we had the incoming cohort and the cohort who was at their internships. And when you think about graduate programs, you know, taking 167 students and having these metrics and 98, close to 98% graduation rate, you know, really high employment 3 months post-grad, it's pretty phenomenal. And I think our integration into the Knight campus is just going to open up the number and type of companies we've already been working with. It's going to open up training opportunities, you know, around entrepreneurship or science policy that we've had alum and students interested in the past. And I'm really excited to be engaging with faculty who have expertise in so many of the disciplines we're teaching, and to pull them in as either instructors of records, sponsoring research projects during the coursework component. And potentially, you know, about 5% of the material science students come back for their PhD. So that'll be a great route for material science students who want to continue on their education at UO.
We're just really excited to have a home where people like really get it. It's a home where they're okay with, or they're not okay with, they're actually showcasing our students. Our program is at the forefront. It's paving the way. They get the value, and you know, we feel really appreciated. And not just that, but they're going out of the way to provide what we need to support the students. They're helping with scholarships, they're providing amazing space, and we're informing that growth along the way. So, you know, we're really important stakeholders to them, and it's a really great partnership for us. The second point I'd say is, in addition to embracing us and showcasing us, it's that synergy that we're going to get, like Dr. York mentioned, with faculty who are working in the areas that we're training students in. And so I'm really excited to see all the great opportunities that come out of working with our new faculty.